Good morning, everyone. It is it's May 27th, 2024, and it's the favorite time of our week because it's Mondays with Bev and Paul. And hi, everybody, my name's Paul.
Good morning. This is Bev.
Yes, sirree. Good morning, Bev, whatever month it is.
Whatever month it is, we're here.
Yes, sir. Here in the United States, we're celebrating Memorial Day today.
Yep.
So, for all of you, we send our thoughts, send our blessings, and our just touch. What a great way to remind people that we love them with just touch. That's why we do this every week, because we really believe this can bring healing to the planet,
Yep.
to all humanity. And I think we're going to talk about that next week. I looked up what are the different ethnic cultures around the world. Very interesting what I found out.
Oh, I'm excited.
How many
Good.
how many ethnicities are there? So, and
Oh,
biotouch fits right in with that. But today we're going to talk about more on fibromyalgia. Okay, so we just did a workshop. I
workshop.
posted that there if you want to see the workshop with Tiffany Hodges and the points that we shared there. But we wanted to go over more of the details that we don't take time to do on the workshop. So let's
Right.
go ahead and talk about it. So, one of the first things she talked about was fibromyalgia was an accumulation of stress over time.
Hmm.
Over
Hmm.
time. So, building and building. Like kids don't have fibromyalgia. It's something that you have over time. And interesting thing she said too, the difference between men and women. Like women are more diagnosed than men.
Yeah, right.
I,
But not for the reasons that, might be obvious, for the reasons that men just don't talk about.
Right, exactly. It always reminds me of that commercial where the guy falls off a ladder or gets hit by a rock and he falls on the ground and jumps up. I'm okay. I'm
I'm
okay.
okay. I'm okay. Oh,
uh,
yeah, interesting. Well, that's yeah, the that stress related to that word accumulation. After a while, let's face it, your body can just handle so much accumulation of something, and then it has to react. And we know that there's different types of stress that eventually manifest in the body. So, we've talked about the stress that comes from emotional trauma, mental, and these things just have a way of building up and building up. And the other thing that Tiffany was talking about is the things that actually happen to the body itself, these
right.
accidents that we have as children, breaking bones, falling off cliffs or roofs of, these kinds of things. At a certain point, they're going to just start, you know, accumulation of these traumas,
That lock
that
in the
are,
body, right?
yep,
And I've always thought about that when I've started BioTouch, that BioTouch was this undoing process, and it was like unpeeling the
layers.
layers of the onion, right? And you get to the core, and you realize, this thing when I fell off the slide when I was 5 years old, which there was no thought about stress there, but the body
Right.
held it, and then it held it some more, and so here you do. We work with people that are 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and this accumulation of stress in the body, which she says really affects what we find out fascia, the fascia,
Fascia.
that
Yes.
connective tissue that holds everything together.
Everything together.
Yeah, it's like
Wow. No wonder when you have something going on in your body, which can or cannot be diagnosed as fibromyalgia, but that makes so much sense, does it? Because the glue holds everything together is being compromised.
yeah, and she talked a lot about the fact that this diagnosis. Let's talk a little about the diagnosis.
Yeah.
Fibromyalgia is really a catch-all. She
Yes.
talked about you take this test and there's, let's say, 15 questions, and if you have 11 of them, well, you got fibromyalgia. And
Right.
I remember working with a Dr. Mike in California. I think it used to be called chronic fatigue syndrome or something, but
Yes, it did.
fibromyalgia has turned into that diagnosis, which basically means we don't know what's wrong with you. So we're going
There
to
you
put
go.
you into this little category here.
Category, which
And
now you can start identifying yourself with to the world.
right.
Hi, my name is Joe and I have fibromyalgia, you
Right.
know?
Right. So, and yet you have this pain. So let's go into what
Chronic.
she talked about how do you release that fascia. And I'm always reminded of some of our massage therapists who talk
Oh,
about when they've learned biotouch and they're able to do that light touch, biotouch on the body before they start their massage, their statement to us, and I can't prove it because I don't do massage work, was the fascia is released and
released.
I can begin to do a massage without the body resisting.
Now, if you think about that, that's an immediate, because they're in a session for a certain amount of time with a client. And if they're integrating BioTouch in that session and they do the greeting or what, to open, the body begins to open right then. It's not like, 6 sessions down the road.
Right,
It's
right.
like, wow, little by, even in that first session that they might start using BioTouch with their massage, it begins
Yeah.
that process for the body.
And that's the key. I mean, she kept talking about you don't want to create more trauma to the body. You don't want
Yes,
to hurt the body again. You don't
right.
want to make that you want to reach the subconscious level, right? That says to the body, "Oh, I'm safe. I'm safe. This is going to be okay. I can handle
Yeah,
this." And
right.
that's what you just talked about. In the very moments that BioTouch is done, let's use a massage therapist as an example, the body immediately goes into, I'm safe. I'm going
I'm
to be
safe.
okay.
I can breathe. I
Yeah,
take a breath into this body. And yes, that we've talked about that many times. And I think it's really important when you're on it, when you're going through, there's fear and there's stress going through a healing process and pain, of course. And if you're in front of a person doing biotouch with you, it really does set up this sense of being cared for, feeling safe. That I think that's underrated in the healing process.
right.
Feeling safe, feeling acknowledged, feeling present. That I think that really has an impact on all those parts of our bodies that I don't think we maybe think about too often.
It's really that ability to allow ourselves to be loved.
Yeah.
I think that is the key. When I've talked to people about biotouch and they want to get into the thises and the thatses and the analysis of it,
Is it this and is it
right? And
that?
are you moving the energy and is it
Right.
moving chakra energies?
Yeah.
And I said, it's really just about love. And people who are in dialogue with, they go, oh well, when you get to that level, nothing
Yeah,
really
right.
matters.
It
Huh?
does.
What? Did I hear that right? What?
Huh? What'd you say?
So
You know, go ahead.
no, no, you're fine.
I was just going to say, because I have to say things when it comes into
Right.
my head sometimes. But Tiffany was also acknowledging the fact that a lot of what we deal with, trauma in our bodies, is not just from this,
Right.
in this time. It is inherited.
Right.
The what the already the capacity to be able to have this stuff unleashed is carried forward in our DNA from our families,
Yeah. And we
passed down. So boy, that's really heavy duty into the cellular memory at that point.
right. And so the body it locks. It's like it's afraid. When I went to Egypt and I did a presentation on Al Jazeera back in those days, and they had to callers were calling in, and I learned something that it didn't matter what part of the world you were in
Oh,
or on,
yeah.
that
In on.
that everybody had the same issues, and that is we were all afraid. You know, we
That's a
were
human
all,
condition.
yes, it's a human condition that we're
Yeah,
afraid and we're in pain and we're suffering. That's the human condition. It didn't matter what the diagnosis was. And
right.
in that suffering and in that pain and in that fear, it's no wonder the body locks up. That we're all, you know, we're just sort of these little robots and we're bumping into one another everywhere we go. You know, even the way we talk to one another. Jenny and I are laughing all the time. She'll say something, right? And I'll sit there and answer the question. She says, "Huh? What are you talking about?" I didn't hear what she said properly. and,
I've
and,
got a story about that at your house, by the way. She says something and you said something, and she's like, "What?" I can believe it. Yep, yep,
yeah,
yep. Where
and
did you come up with that?
right, and you realize we don't even hear one another. You know, we're talking to one another, and we're all talking from our own perception, from what we think we heard, and
You,
it's the same with healing work.
and then you multiply that by
Oh,
8 billion people on the planet,
right.
right? Well, the other thing that Tiffany was saying, which is really kind of frustrating, she did use that word because if you've got your body going on where you're in pain and you can't move your body, like, this neck thing, you're afraid to do anything like this because it's gonna hurt.
Right.
And so it just creates this what catch 22. And the moment when you can't move your body, the body resists anything it needs to move. But if you're afraid to move your head because you know it's going to hurt, now you're just feeding, a
The cycle.
constant
Right.
cycle.
Yeah.
Wow, how do we break that cycle? I know how.
Yes. So do I. Just touch. Take those two
Go
fingers
right there.
and lightly touch another human being. And I can't tell you how many countless of times after a session, somebody said, and they'll move their neck and go, "Wow, I feel much better." And will that last? Even Tiffany said that. No, because chances are the body goes back to its memory, its old memory, its old pain, it's the subconscious locks us up again. And so that's why, BioTouch is not a slap on the forehead, you fall over
No,
and all of a sudden you're healed, which is why we're trying to get it into families,
right. Absolutely.
you know?
It's like you've said many times, what the company that helped us do our branding, remember? He was saying, you guys ought to announce you've got a first aid kit in your house all the time.
Yes.
Just open up that box and get those two fingers out there and start doing that. It's already there.
So another thing she talked about was that this thing we call fibromyalgia, this locked up body, we were hiding, that we're guarding ourselves,
Oh, right, right.
and I thought that was really interesting because what's the whole purpose of BioTouch from the beginning of when we started this organization was to encourage self awareness.
Awareness. Yes, absolutely.
That
And it
that's
happens
yes, and
on
that's
its own.
yes, that's right. You don't have to recommend, you don't have to diagnose, you don't have to tell people go drink water, go do this, do the you just let people find what they need to do
Yeah,
and to trust. See, that's another big part of it.
that's another big one.
Yeah, to trust that
I
what you're
agree.
hearing is good for you. Gather all the information you want. Like that's what I'm doing with this prostate issue. I keep getting the BioTouch. I get the diagnosis. Oh, yeah,
Yep.
you got this stage cancer, on and on. And then you
On
go
and
to
on.
this one and you hear this one and this one.
Uh-huh.
And you
Mm-hmm.
just have to just keep trusting that you will do what's appropriate for this
Appropriate.
body.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. That's it. That's a self-awareness that we talk about,
yes.
you
So
know?
when she talked about that part of it, I was like, well, there's just another reason to just keep getting BioTouch out there to people. And not for us to sit here and diagnose, like we were just talking about.
Oh,
If the doctors can't even diagnose it, why would
right.
we?
Why would we do that? And really and truly, to diagnose brings with it a responsibility. think about that, because once you speak those words to someone, whether you're licensed to or not, you have changed the dynamics in that person's body. It responds mentally, emotionally, and now here we go. I have this. I am dying from this, or whatever that was. And every this is why we say all the time, especially in our trainings, when we're talking about, just the basics of the technique, and as a foundation, what we do not do or say. And one of the main things is we never suggest to anybody what they need to be doing. We don't diagnose anything for them.
Right.
We just touch. Because the moment that I'll just speak for practitioners, the moment that one of us diagnoses or suggests, oh, why don't you do this or whatever, we have in that moment said to them, well, you're not capable of going on that self-awareness journey for yourself, so let me help you. This is the big thing about somebody working on somebody. I know what's good for you. Let me tell you what to do. Instead of me shutting my mouth and trusting that they know exactly, if I just touch, what's going to happen for them. And it's empowering for them.
And that's the key, the empowerment part of it.
Yeah.
And along that same line, somebody would come in with fibromyalgia or any other diagnosis, whatever long term it is. And basically all we say to people is, where does it hurt?
Where does it hurt?
Where does it hurt? Where are you feeling discomfort? And BioTouch, all we have to do is address that. We have different sets of points, if it's a metabolism or the whole back set. But if you just want to address where it hurts, all you have to do is that greeting. You can get that for free, justtouch.com. We won't go too much into it. And then locally touch. You take the index and the middle finger of each hand, and if just touch lightly, 6 to 8 seconds, around wherever the pain is. You don't need to know anything else. That will start a healing process. That will give the body the attention and the love that it needs to begin to do a healing process.
I know that a lot of us have worked with people who have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and there is a sense of, when they do, of almost futility, of such frustration, because it's everywhere, right? So but every single one of them, especially the ones that have come into the center, and they know that consistency is a real key to healing. They have told me time and time again, if it wasn't for the BioTouch, I just don't know, because this is the one thing that has kept me going and giving me hope.
Yes.
There's that third: safety, trust, and hope. This is the cornerstones of BioTouch.
Right. And we've heard that many, many times, the idea of hope. So folks, it's really quite easy. We use fibromyalgia as just another one of those diagnoses that you can work with. And it doesn't matter what term you use, you just have to reach out with that index middle finger lightly on the body and help another human being. And that's why we're here every Monday, to share that with you. If you have any questions, contact us, office@justtouch.com. We enjoy talking about it. We even enjoy more about sharing it with you. So
every Monday.
Every day. So thank you, Bev. That was a lot of fun. And thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Have a great day.
Days in and days out, space and time is all about feeling pressure with the pain, in sunshine or in the rain. Living is a place in mind, giving is being kind. When the pain is too much, What we need is bio-touch. When I'm touching you, you are touching me. It's a simple thing to do and a natural way to be.